Debt collector scams are always evolving, and we've spotted a few new ones you need to know about this year. As always, I'm Nicole from Low Income Relief, where we help millions of people save money and get free stuff. Fake debt collectors are popping up on social media. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has changed their rules to allow debt collectors to email, text, and even direct message you on social media as of November 30th of last year. According to the rules, debt collectors can send you friend and follower requests, but they must identify themselves as a debt collector. Please, people, do not accept friend requests from debt collectors or people you don't know. There are all sorts of risks involved in that. Please don't do it. While they are now allowed to send you these requests, you should not accept them. This is not in your best interest. Debt collectors are notorious for bending and breaking debt collection rules. We've done videos in the past about debt collectors who aggressively harassed people's bosses and loved ones to get money, even though they knew that action was illegal. That's because it's effective. Letting these people access your social media will always make things worse, not better. Can you imagine letting a debt collector see your children, what you're eating, where you're going, and more? Although legally they would not be allowed to post comments about your debt on photos of your child's Christmas gifts or your birthday dinner, they may do it anyway if the strategy proves effective at getting you to pay. So don't give them that chance. This also creates a whole new range of confusion about who is and is not legitimately collecting debts. It's hard to tell who real debt collectors are anyway because there are so many scams. So to have people popping up in your DMs and saying you owe money is not a great thing. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any sort of licensed anything. I'm just a researcher. But personally, for myself, I would not respond to anyone who didn't send me something in writing that I couldn't verify is legitimate, because this just seems very, very scammy and unsafe to me. Next, debt collectors are capitalizing on pandemic confusion. The complex nature of some pandemic-related assistance programs are creating a prime breeding ground for scammers. For example, student loan repayments have recently been postponed again. Instead of starting in January, they'll now start in May. But some people still don't know that, and some scammers have decided to get involved to make things worse. The FTC has received recordings of messages that threaten borrowers who do not contact them immediately to start repayment. One message said, quote, "This message is from the Department of Education. All student loan forgiveness will be stopped immediately. In order for you to qualify, you must apply in the next 24 hours or you will not be able to have your student loan reduced." That's a lie. And you'll notice that they use this high pressure, urgent, you have to contact us in 24 hours or there will be permanent consequences pitch to get you to suspend your rational thinking and just act and give them money. And that's dangerous. Please remember, these high-pressure, urgent tactics do not accurately reflect how these programs work. You will not receive a message like this from the actual Department of Education. They'll contact you in writing and give you more than 24 hours to respond. After all, nothing in the government moves that quickly. I personally have student loans, and I've been getting emails for months from my servicer saying, "The time is coming, it's time to prepare, the time is coming, it's time to prepare." And then I got an email saying that it was suspended again. So they may contact you through email, but not with these do or die, super urgent messages that people are getting. Those are scams, guys. And third, debt collectors are threatening to sue over very, very old zombie debts. A few weeks ago, my husband was startled by a letter that claimed he was about to be sued for a payday loan he'd taken out when he was in the Army over 15 years ago. The debt collector claimed that the lawsuit had already been filed and he needed to call immediately so that they could undo it before things got worse. Once again, you'll see those high-pressure, urgent tactics happening. But we safely ignored that letter. Why? Because there's a statute of limitations that protects you from being sued for very old debts. The statute of limitations says that creditors and debt collectors must sue you within a reasonable time period or they lose the right to sue you for that debt. The exact number of years varies based on where you live, the jurisdiction in your original contract, and what type of debt it is. The average is around 5 years for verbal or open debts, about 6 years for written or promissory debts. That's an average, of course. Some states have limits as short as 2 years, and some are as long as 10 years. It all depends on where you live, what type of debt is, etc. Debts that are older than the statute of limitations are called time-barred debts, and you can't be sued for them. So either way, that 15-year-old Army debt that we already paid was far past the applicable statute of limitations, and the debt collector was just bluffing. In fact, that debt collector broke the law by sending that letter because it is a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Reporting Act to threaten to sue over a time-barred debt. So technically I could sue them for money now. So here's how to keep yourself safe. If you are confronted about an alleged debt, there are several steps you can take. First, find out who is contacting you. Get their name, company name, license number, address, and phone number. If the person contacting you resists or doesn't provide this information or hangs up on you if you ask a question, that is a red flag and likely a scam. Second, don't respond to threats. Debt collectors can't have you arrested. They can't sue you for time-barred debts. However, debt collectors often make threats to create a sense of pressure so that you comply. If a debt collector is threatening you, don't fall for the pressure. Hang up and report them to the FTC. Third, demand a debt validation. Do not pay any debts that have not been validated. A debt validation often has to be requested in writing. Send an email or a piece of paper mail to their office demanding a debt validation. Within a certain number of days, the debt collector must provide the amount of the debt, the name of the current creditor, and information that proves that they have the right to collect on this debt. If they don't comply, then you may want to consult an attorney. We have a free legal aid resource at lowincomerelief.com/legal-aid. If you receive a debt validation and it checks out, then you can deal with that debt accordingly. You may have payment options, you may be able to settle, or you may be able to ignore it. However, this 3-step strategy is an easy way to weed out the scammers from the legitimate debt collectors, and that can help you save money and a lot of stress in the long run. I hope this video was helpful to you. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more ways to save money and get free stuff.